Now that Janet's taking care of all my problems. Hey guys, today I want to talk to you about, do I regret doing what I've done? You know, buying the property, committing to, building on it, committing to making the payments, having the attorney and everything. I'm going to say a little bit, I do regret it a little bit. If I could go back in time and do it again, there's a lot of mistakes I made. Everybody makes mistakes. You can only hope to learn from them. And as I build on this property and as I go through the process here, I'm going to share with you the mistakes I made. Even though I had good people who were successful at building, buying property, and the problems they went through, they shared with me. So I knew of a lot of the problems, a lot of the headaches that were involved with buying property. Janet and I are down here today at the property. You can hear the roosters in the background, and it's a Sunday afternoon, it's hot, Janet's working. We have these fires going. Let me take you a walk through the area here. We're burning some coconuts here and leaves and stuff. There's another pile over here Janet's burning. And we have a third little pile here that didn't make much headway. You can see the property. Let me take you to the front of the property as I walk through the valley of death and wander through the jungle. Here you can see we have these logs still to cut up and take care of. But the question was asked, if you had to do it over again, would you have done it? Somebody's goat is in my yard. Hey, goat, goat. It came in under the fence. There's Janet clearing out a little area. She's going to plant tomatoes maybe. This is the Kubo and my neighbor's house. My motorbike. That's the new home that's being built across the way there. For those of you who have been in the Philippines before, you know about this rubbish burning. It is really just yard waste. There's not plastic, there's not contaminants in there. It's just grass, banana leaves, some coconuts. The coconuts are the big deal here, to get rid of all the coconuts. This lot was full of coconut trees when we got it. But the deal I had here, and so, excuse me if I'm sweating, been working a little bit. The deal I had with this property, it's 700 square meters. I bought it, the agreement on the price of being 1.5 million pesos, and that includes my tax obligations that are coming up in the future. This I thought was a good deal. It's close to Janet's home. It's just a couple hundred yards off a main road. It's on a cement road. I have access to the cement road here right out the front gate. And it's a nice piece of property to build on. There's some other foreigners who have bought some property here. They're already building. There's 3 brand new homes being built right around here. The price of property is really going up quickly here. We're close to Valencia proper, near the plaza where you always see the Sunday market. So the location is really good. It's easy for us to get up to Valencia. It's like a 5-minute motorbike ride. We can go into Bacan and Darwin in about 10 or 15 minutes. And we could also go into downtown Dumaguete in about 15, 20 minutes. Hypermart, the boulevard, get to the ocean. And we also have access to the mountains around here. Above Valencia, Chosen Cafe, a lot of places we like to go. So location-wise, it's great for us. But the headache, the hassle, stuff you don't even foresee. You sit down and you come up with an agreement, you get an attorney, you sign a contract, you go, all right, how long does it take to do this? Normally 6 months. And then step 2 is another 6 months. Step 3 is another 6 months. Step 4 is another 6 months. For us, there's 4 steps. The first step is it's a mother's title. And with this mother's title, it has to be divided into the 3 sisters. The mother's property has to be divided into 3 equal shares. The sisters have already started that. They've already had it surveyed. They have everything going towards doing that. So we have to complete that process. Then the lady we're buying this piece of property off of her lot, she has to go and get it subdivided. Now we have it surveyed, we have it staked, we have it fenced, and this is our property. We have a contract, we own this. but it takes time to get the process of the title work done. So first she has to get clear title to her complete 14 or 1500 square meter lot. And then once she has total clean title to that, she has to submit for subdivision to divide it up in half, half for me and half for her. So there'll be 2 more titles in her name, the lot she's keeping and the one that she sold us. Now once she has that one in her hand, then we have to have her sign it over to Janet. Then we have to send it back up to Manila to be taken care of title-wise, to have it changed over to Janet's name. So there's one, the one is the sister has to get clear title on hers. 2, she has to subdivide it. And 3, after she has it subdivided, she has to get the title over to Janet. That's 3 stages. And then the 4th stage is paying all the taxes that are on the property. Our liability for the taxes on the property is going to be about 10%, 5 to 10% of the sale price. So I'm budgeting $200,000 for that, even though I believe it's going to be a lot less than $200,000. But the deal is 50% down, and then 25% at one of the stages, and then the final payment once Janet has clean title in her hand. So it's a process of the owner of the property taking almost 2 years to get completely paid for. And it's something where it's spread out for me, which is good, but the hassle of not knowing what's happening, is there going to be a hiccup down the line that's going to cause me problems? Going to see the attorney every couple months and asking her what's going on, are we any closer? And then we find out, maybe the real estate agent, the guy who showed us the property, maybe he forgot to do something, which he did. He forgot to pay off the survey. So we had to go and take care of that. It didn't come out of my pocket, but I had to go to the people who did the survey and get, the notarized survey and of the lot that we're buying. I also had to get a contract from her, which I got the day we gave her the deposit. But I also got a contract saying I have the right to build on this property, so she can't come back and say, you can't build yet until she gets paid for. But as long as you have title and you have a sales contract and you put some money down, this property is yours. I'm not worried at all of the people I'm dealing with cheating me. I'm not worried about the attorney not doing a good job. What I'm worried about is the time it takes for the Philippine government to do all these processes. Right now it's at the BIR, which is, I believe, the tax people here in Negros. And that's where the title is right now, waiting for them to sign off on that and go to the next step. Hopefully it happens any day now. But still, it's a long process. And what you don't have here is you don't have escrow. Back in our home country, you go to buy some property, or you go to buy a piece of property that they're going to build on for you. You get to look at the model home. You get to go secure financing. You get to go to an escrow company, which will hold the down payment, and no payments will be made until title is complete and everybody is satisfied. And that's what an escrow company does. It makes sure everybody gets what they signed on the contract for. They hold the money in a safe spot, so nobody can just walk away with your cash. We're here in the Philippines. If I decided I didn't want to do this deal anymore, I wanted to walk away, I'm probably walking away from my 50% down payment. Now, if something happens with the owners and they do something wrong that I don't like and I sue them and say I win the lawsuit, that I can get out of this contract, how am I going to get money from them? Like I said, here in the Philippines, the people are property rich. They're rich in land, but they have no cash. There's no way for me to collect that money. So there's no use even thinking of reasons to get out of the contract, because you're going to forfeit your down payment just like you do in a rental unit. If something happens and you leave, you forfeit your deposit. Well, that's something I don't want to do. But it's just a lot of issues that you have to take care of. Getting the water to the property. That was an issue. It wasn't hard, but it was just something that takes time. I'm just used to, You go to the water company and you tell them, hey, I need the water in my name and I need the water turned on. You fill out some paperwork, you write them a check, boom, there you go. You got water in a day or two. Here's a whole different story. You know, I had to go get all the requirements from the Valencia City Hall, their water department. And they had a whole list of things I had to do and get. And most of them were tax documents. And I went to my attorney, I showed the attorney what I needed. They spent a half hour researching it, and then they gave me a copy of every document I needed. Then I had to go to the local barangay and get a barangay clearance for the water. Then I had to go back to the water district. They gave me a list of things I had to buy. I also had to go to City Hall to the cashier and pay a bunch of small fees. You know, 500 pesos here, 600 pesos here. It was under 2,000 pesos total. But every time I had to make a small payment, I had to go see somebody else to write the new bill for the next step. So it's just a lot of paperwork, you know, a lot of red tape. And it doesn't take a lot of time. By the time we collected all the material we needed for the water, it took them another 10 days to have people come and do the labor. And the 3 people from the city came to work on it. They hooked the water up to the street, to the main highway. From here is you know, like, I'm going to say about a quarter mile, about 400 yards, 450 yards from here to where they hooked the water line on. And they run this small 1-inch hose all the way to our property, to the water meter that we had to buy. And then they hooked that up, and then onto the property we have a spigot. And so we have water on the property. We have a water meter out there, and I'm sure one day there's going to be a water bill taped to this cubo. Valencia uses river water, and the river water, sometimes they turn it off if it's raining really hard for a few days and the river gets high and there's a lot of sediment in the river, it turns brown. Sometimes they shut the water down for a day or two. So eventually we have to have the water tank system. But all these things you got to go through, and nobody, I'm not talking about someone cheating you. There's absolutely no one cheating anybody. It just takes so much time. And you know, you feel anxious. All right, hey, like I did last month, let's go get the water permit. And now I got an architect's drawing. Let's go get a building permit. And so you're trying to keep going and keep going. And then you remember, I'm still a year and a half away from getting title. You know, all this, it's just a lot of standing and waiting. And a lot of you guys are saying, you can't own property, so why are you doing this, Mike? Well, if you're married, you're protected. You have a will with your wife. If something happens to her, you get the property. If something happens to you, she gets the property. You cannot put it in your name, that's a fact. But you're on the title as a spouse. And your wife can't sell it without your permission. They need both people to sign on the dotted line that it's for sale. Just like I had to sign on the line buying this property. Janet and I both had to sign for it. So you're pretty well protected. Now, if you're coming here and you have a girlfriend and you're doing this with, well, that's a whole different story. And the worst thing you can do is build on family property, because you will never have any rights there. If your spouse passes or you break up with your girlfriend, the family can just ask you to leave, and you can say, hey, I own that house. I have title to that building. Well, you just don't have any rights to walk on their property to get to that building unless you made a lease. And remember, you can't do a lease with a spouse or a family member. So really, you need a lawyer. Whatever you're going to do, go see a lawyer. Go with your girlfriend or go without. Find a good English-speaking attorney and talk to them. Pay them some money and say, hey, I want your advice. What can I do? You don't have to commit to anything, but you're paying for a consultation. Find out what your rights are, what you can and you cannot do, and what you're going to expect in this scenario. So the answer to the big question, if I had to do it over again, would I do it or would I not? Sometimes I think I don't want to, but then again, the plans, if they come to fruition and everything comes out as it's supposed to in the next 2 years, it's probably be one of the best things I've ever done. Janet deserves everything that I give Janet, you know, she is part of my life here. She has been a savior to my life. And financially, she's part of the reason YouTube is working for us, and YouTube is paying for a lot of this. I'm not going to fool anybody. There's a lot of what's going on here is because of the money we make on YouTube, and if we weren't making that income, I don't think I could make these commitments. So hopefully people keep watching the channel, keep liking what we're doing, but it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. It's not the easiest thing I've ever done. Physically, it's hard. Just like today, we're at the property here. There's so many mistakes, so many mistakes. And in the next video, I'll tell you the mistakes I made when I purchased the land and things that you should look for before you buy. And try not to make the same mistakes I did. The whole purpose of videos about buying land, dealing with the attorney, building a home, is so that you can learn from mistakes. Not the perfect way. People who tell you, I built the perfect house, I had no problems, they're full of BS, man. My friend, he spent 3 years in planning of buying the property and building the house, and he was on top of the situation, and he had little bumps in the roads. Nothing is perfect, but you're going to talk to people, pick their brain about what they did right, but also, is there anything you did that was wrong that you wish you could have done differently? That's the advice that's going to get you over the hard times here. And that's what I'm going to share with you. Little things I could have done different. You know, maybe had the land cleared before I bought it, so I didn't have to do it. There's a lot of little things to be talked about when you go to buy a piece of land. Not just the hurry, yeah, I bought it, this is mine, here's the money, sign the contract. And now what do you have? You got a piece of land that a jungle's grown on. And you need a little bit of guidance. You need some common sense. And again, slow down and think it over. You find the perfect piece of property, the perfect price. It's not like finding an apartment that you want to grab that apartment because it's perfect, or that house to rent because it's perfect. Buying a piece of property, committing to buying a house, signing with a contractor, even doing it yourself, before you overcommit, sit back and think about it. Maybe take a trip to Alona Beach or Boracay, or go to Cebu City and relax and think about it. And that's my advice. Slow down, think about it, and learn from everybody's mistakes. Everybody makes different mistakes. And if you don't think people like me and Paul and Ali and all these people who are building homes out here that we know aren't talking among each other about good things that happen and bad things that happen, a good contractor, a bad contractor, where they bought tile at a great price, where they bought cabinetry at a good price with good service. We're always talking and we're always learning. And that's the thing. You have to network with people who are doing what you want to do. This is not for everybody, definitely not for the weak of heart, and definitely not on a shoestring budget. Make sure you have enough money that once you commit to everything, that you're going to do this or this, you can complete it. What's the worst thing that could happen in this deal? I put the down payment, something happens to me, and then Janet can't complete the payments. Well, the owner of the property gets the money, they keep the property, and nothing to show for my hard-earned dollars. You got to make sure you have all that money in the bank to make all those payments, even if the payments are a year down the line. Tuck it away so your loved one, when something happens to you, they can make those final payments. They can continue, at least pay for the property and own the property. Because if they don't build on it, at least they'll get clear title at someday. Maybe them and a relative can get together and finish building, or she can even just sell it for a profit. Don't just put it in a position where you're just going to lose everything. You have to think ahead, and sometimes you have to think that you're not going to be here next year. I'm not a 50-year-old. Some people come here at 50 and do this. They got 30 years left in their life. They have a long time to live. I'm 70. I'm looking for 10 more good years. And if I get that, God bless. Thank you. Think hard before you do anything. And stay tuned to the channel. I'm going to have a lot of updates on things I've done wrong and the nightmares of buying property and trying to build a house here in the Philippines. Thanks for watching, guys.